Good evening and welcome to the Earth's Final Warning radio podcast. I'm your host, Brian DeLory, and I thank you all for tuning into the program tonight. And tonight's message is going to be this. I'm going to be beginning a new teaching series on the 7 trumpet judgments of Revelation explained. Actually, it's not a new teaching series as much as it is a new, how shall I put it, a new segment about the judgments that occur on the earth during the tribulation period. So we covered the 7 seals for most of last week. So now this week I'll cover the 7 trumpets. Hopefully I'll actually begin on the 7 vials before the week is out, but there's a lot of material to cover in this particular section, and so it's going to take some time, but hopefully I can get this out of the way by the end of the week, and maybe by Friday I'll be able to start the next section, which is, again, the 7 vials. I have some things I need to tell you, some things I need to clarify. First of all, in my podcast on Friday evening, the conclusion to the 7 seals, I made a really bad mistake. I was saying that there was a great mountain burning with fire that is cast into the sea, spoken about in Revelation chapter 17, which any of you who have read the Bible knows is not true. It was a mistake on my part, and I'll try to explain this very quickly. I want to preface what I'm about to say by this, that I'm not trying to garner any sympathy. I'm merely trying to provide an explanation why some of these things happen. I have had several strokes. Doing this podcast for me is very therapeutic. It's aiding in my recovery from the strokes. And I mean, there was a phenomenal amount of strokes that I had, and in a very short period of time. But the very fact that I'm still functional, still able to speak, walk, talk, and everything else we humans normally can do is a miracle, because with the number of strokes that I had, I should have been basically mentally and physically incapacitated. But God saw fit to spare me. One of the first things I thought of when I had those strokes, and it was a great a source of fear to me, that I would not preach, that I would never be able to preach as a result of having these strokes, because when I had the strokes, I could speak, but it was very, just garbled. It wasn't that great. And God really worked a miracle. It didn't take long for me to get my speech restored, but what has happened, the area that's been most affected is the area of my mind, and most of that has been restored, but I still have these brief periods when I think things or say things, and I don't really understand at the time that I'm saying something that's erroneous. And at the time I said that to you all, I actually believed that. And then when I heard it back, I knew immediately. I said, no, this isn't right. It's in Revelation chapter 8, which is what we've been studying. And the only thing I can think of is what I was thinking in Revelation 13. It says that the beast rises up out of the sea. Other than that, there's nothing in Revelation 17 that even remotely resembles a mountain of fire being cast into the sea. So those are the reasons why I make these kind of mistakes. I apologize for any confusion I may have caused as a result of what I said, and I'm going to take even greater pains to make sure that does not happen in the future because, I take these podcasts seriously. I was called to preach when I was 18 years old. And this to me is not just a little podcast I do for fun, like some people do. It's my way of reaching out to the world with the gospel of Jesus Christ, with the good news of Jesus Christ, and to teach people what they need to know, because a lot of people are confused about the book of Revelation. And there's so much on the internet, I've said this before, that is just, some of it is actually by well-intended people, and then there are some who are just saying things that are so far out there. I don't know what is prompting them to make those types of statements. And so a lot of things that you see, I've been studying the Bible for 35 years. I have a degree in theology. And so when I see something, I can sort of understand where the person who is writing it is coming from. I can understand that what they say in their writings may be even be plausible, a plausible explanation of some of the symbolism in Revelation. But there are others that just say things that are so out there that, it's just ludicrous. And so those are people that I totally ignore. However, for some new convert that's just coming into the body of Christ, and they are curious and they want to know things, and they've heard about the book of Revelation, and they want to know these things, and they get on the internet because that's a wonderful tool for research, at least for me it is. And then they see one guy says one thing, one guy says another thing, and it causes a lot of confusion. So I'm attempting to clear up that confusion. Now, so that's why I want to make sure that all my statements are accurate, and I will do so in the future. Okay, we're coming to the 7 trumpet judgments, which can be found in the book of Revelation, chapter 8, verse 1, and verse 2, but verse 1 in chapter 8 is where Jesus opens the 7th seal. And I went over this on Friday night, and I saw some other things after I went over it that I should share with you very quickly. But what I said about that on my podcast was pretty accurate. Most Bible teachers believe that this silence in heaven for about the space of a half an hour is due to the fact that the occupants of heaven are awestruck over the judgments of God. And I did see some things on the internet afterwards, and I didn't really commit them to memory, but a lot of them were different scriptures about people being, or the earth being silent before the Lord when he's about to judge it. So again, it really goes back to being awestruck at what is about to occur. The things that are about to happen are so mind-blowing that the occupants of heaven are just astounded. So they're awestruck. They can't believe what they're seeing and what's about to happen. So that seems to be the most plausible explanation for the silence in space, silence in heaven for the space of a half an hour. Now, there is some speculation I ran into about the half an hour not being a literal 30 minutes, but rather a period of time. And they went into all types of explanations. None of it made sense to me. I think what's best to do in this situation, or in this case rather, is to stay with the literal meaning of half an hour, which is 30 minutes. And so that's covered. And now this introduces the 7 trumpet judgments, and in verse 2 John begins, "And I saw the 7 angels which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of the saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers of the saints ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. Now, let's stop right there for a minute. I believe, as many other Bible teachers believe, the judgments, the things that we see happening in the book of Revelation are happening as a result of the imprecatory prayers of God's people throughout all ages. And so imprecatory means prayers for judgment, like you would see in Revelation chapter 6 in the fifth seal, when it says that, was it the fifth seal? I can't remember now, but that one seal where it says, he saw under the altar the souls that had been martyred for Jesus, and they were calling for God's vengeance on those who had killed them. So that's an imprecatory prayer. So that's what he's talking about. And that seems to be the case here, that all of these prayers that have been prayed over thousands of years are mixed with this incense before the throne of God. So God is acting in response to those prayers. He's answering those prayers. And then the angel took the censer and filled it with the fire of the altar and cast it to the earth. There were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but earthquakes are oftentimes a result of God's judgment. I do believe here in the earth, but those sons of Korah, the ground swallowed them up. I can't remember where that's at either. But you can look that up on you can look at the King James Bible online or wherever you can find it. I just can't remember where it is right now. But there were times when God used earthquakes to bring judgment, as he will in the book of Revelation. And during the time of the tribulation period, at the very end, there's a major earthquake, such as never been before on the earth. So, and again, this is because of the judgment of God coming upon the earth. So, when it says here that there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake, thunderings are also a way that judgment is announced. Where it says in the book of Revelation, I forget in which chapter again, because I didn't intend to add this to my teaching tonight, but it's when seven thunders uttered their voices, seven thunders. And John begins to write, and God tells him not to write, seal up what the seven thunders said. So, again, I believe this is just, God's judgment getting ready to occur upon the earth. And then it says, and the seven angels had the seven trumpets, prepared themselves to sound. Now, I don't know exactly what that means. What do they have to do to prepare? Only God knows. But they were preparing, the Bible says, to sound their trumpets. And the first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And the third part of the trees was burnt up, and all the green grass was burned up. I need to say something here. The judgments of the tribulation period increase in intensity. As the tribulation moves forward, the judgments begin to get progressively worse till the very end.